the height thing and think and contemplate
Really?
the law.
Now if I can
Contemplate.
get, I'm gonna tumble over.
Yeah,
Hey, look who's here.
Get one of those on Monday.
hey, thinking about the weighty powers of government.
Don't have to ask how you are because you're just wonderful.
Now it's kind of like we're just
And
the secretary.
It's a wonderful night.
They'll hand up to 50.
So by the fact
Not that
that
trustees are trending to be in
Joe's
here than
starting
they
to do
used
the
to be,
RFQ,
but
does that
This
mean
is
we're
all
not
because
pursuing
Never know.
repairing
You never
some
know.
of the walls?
Maybe
We
somebody
can't
sitting
anybody
in your
to come
lap
and look
or
at it?
exactly. And either way, now they're more ADA compliant because now the
Yeah, but why do we need to do
space
an
between
RFQ for
the
that?
chair and the wall.
We can't find anybody who wants to do it, so we figure if
In
we
the case of an emergency,
get architects
thank
on
God.
board and
Or
we tell
picture
them we're gonna
taking.
pay them money, maybe we'll get something. The structural engineers are, he's got two. We got one from Oliveri and one from
I'm not gonna say I told you so.
neither one.
But why, what do you mean either one? What is it we're asking them to do? Did we tell them that we would pay them for their time to come out and tell us?
Are you guys
what
starting a
repairs
meeting
need to be
without us?
done?
Sounds like it.
And they don't even want to get paid to do that?
They come out, they talk a good game, and then trying to get
They don't
hold of
Good evening, everyone,
them.
and I mean George.
Hey, George?
Hi, George.
I hope everyone enjoyed the Wednesday off, but
Yes, I
let's get
did.
started. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, at 7 PM. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kami,
Here.
Trustee Crowley,
Here.
Trustee Gillis.
Here.
Trustee Ivan,
Oh, I'm here.
Trustee Killerly,
Here,
Trustee Kreis, Mayor LaRue,
Here,
you have a quorum.
please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And the Boy Scouts did a phenomenal job last night. The pledge. Open the floor to public comment.
Okay, I need to be able to join the meeting. Nobody hit that button yet.
George?
I don't have that button.
No? Yes?
Refresh
Yes.
your
agenda?
refresh your screen.
Where's the circle button up here?
The old software for meters crapped out on us, and we couldn't get any information to transfer to Locust, so our girls in the front office had to estimate the last two cycles. We hope to have the new software installed this month, everyone trained, and that should fix the problem. If it's completely out of whack, please let us know and
Oh, it is.
let,
It's like estimated 4,000, it should be around 14,000.
So it's low?
It's way low, yes.
right, which means then when it gets back to read and real, then you'll have a real high bill.
I have a giant bill.
Please call up here tomorrow and talk to Maggie, and they'll figure out what they do. What our front office clerks did was they went back through everyone's last 4 cycles and tried to use that as an estimate, so something must have got messed up. We've had a few of them, not a lot, but a few that were out of whack, so please call up here and,
All right,
yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thanks. That's it. Close the floor to public comment and move on to trustee business. Trustee Crowley.
Oh, thank you, sir. Guess I'll start. A couple things on my agenda. The first one actually is for executive session and then just approval, so I can skip that until the end. I then have, before I even go to number 2, I'd like to first thank everybody who came out, volunteered, donated, worked, and put on presentations yesterday at National Night Out. It was definitely the best attended National Night Out I've ever been to. The weather was beautiful, we worked that into, God was able to help us with that a little bit. And then we had just a phenomenal night. I think everybody had a good time. We had everything from the animal show to the school supplies, to scarecrows, to kindness wax, to everything, the fire department, the dunk tank. I mean, everything just, it was a full night, it was packed, there's tons of good pictures, so I really want to thank everybody for participating in that. And thank yous will be going out next week or so. Next on my...
I concur.
Thank you.
And I would like to also thank all the departments that showed up. We had a very good turnout from our village.
Yes.
And the CPC outdid themselves.
Yes,
they
It
did
was
a very nice
phenomenal. I
job.
was overwhelmed by
Yes.
everything that was going on, so.
And the residents who came out with their kids, it was great. They were just
I think
a
there
ton of
was
people.
so many family things to do, not just kid things to do, which, you know, it's kid-driven too, but
Right.
but families could go and learn how to make a scarecrow. Families could go and watch the carving, taking part, you know, parents could go up and talk to our building department.
I missed
Our-
that. Where was that happening? Behind us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Across the alley? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
we-
see
you know,
that.
the canine demonstrations, families watch that. If you see some of the pictures that have been posted on social media, you will see that the police department truly loved the animal show with all the snakes that they were wearing. And, you know, the school supply gift, I mean, the music, the food, everything really geared towards families being together. And I think that was our goal. I think we accomplished it. I can't wait to start planning next year's. So yes, very exciting.
And let me know if the joke gets old, but I don't know why you cut the car up. The door is unlocked. You could have just opened the door.
I know that.
Okay.
It's kind of like watching the mayor floss.
Oh, maybe we could get Public Works to take one of their big
Anyways,
cranes.
anything else?
The mayor was dancing, the mayor was dancing.
Why didn't we get that on video?
I do have it on video.
Okay,
just so
good.
you know.
It needs to go on the website.
Anything else, Trustee Crowley?
Yes, number 2 on my list is I have discussion of our new infrastructure bond that we've been talking about for about 20 months now. We've been talking to the Finance Committee, we've been talking here, I've been talking with the trustees. As everybody knows, the police department has done an RFQ. We did have a committee that picked someone to work with us. We have problems going on with Public Works that everybody's aware of that need to be addressed. However, that is addressed, whether it's repair, replace, or whatever, and we have serious problems going on right here in Village Hall. So the discussion on the bonds is twofold. First is we've all been a part of the refinancing of the bonds that we currently have at a lower rate to bring those costs down. And the second is the discussion that we've been having over the last 20 months of the establishment of a new bond to replace and improve our infrastructure.
Great idea.
It's a long time coming. The Village Hall has been sorely underfunded and under-maintained for decades. And as we all have seen, the walls are literally falling down around us. The roof is leaking everywhere. Police department is woefully inadequate for a 2019 world. Regulations, guidelines, laws that guide our law enforcement, we are not following. It's unsafe for our employees, our visitors. Public Works building, again, the walls are caving in on us, and this is the time to get this moving forward, so.
And I think with, just to piggyback on that, with all the discussions we've had with our bond people, with Maggie, the rates are probably lower than we've seen in a very, very, very long time. It gives us the ability to have a greater bond, to, you know, establish a bigger bond and still not raise taxes and not have any higher payments. So keeping in custom with not raising taxes and not going, you know, trying to go too far beyond our means and things like that. Right now, I think that's a really great time to be able to get started on everything that we need to get started on with the village infrastructure.
I concur.
I concur.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Then, that having said, Maria, can we put it on the consent agenda for next week?
We'll also have the representative from the bond
Yes, Stefan
there as
will
well.
be here next week too.
He's going to be here next Wednesday?
Yes.
To go over it all? Next
Well,
Monday?
No, to ask any
if
questions.
there's any last minute questions. But, I mean,
But he's going to come to the board meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
just in case anybody had any questions, so. But I would, if anybody has any questions, if you could email them to me before so I can make sure he has the answers to us so that, you know, we can move forward. But we will be moving forward on refinancing the bonds and establishing the new bonds for capital infrastructure.
Today?
No, sorry. I just had a couple more things. We are still, I sent out a list to all of the department heads and the mayor earlier this week, proving forwarded us a list of our current computers and the software that they're running. So I've asked all the department heads to review them, make sure every computer that's on there is a computer in their department. And once we are confirmed that we've accounted for everything and nothing should be removed or added, then we will move forward with asking Proven to come up with a plan to integrate into the new Windows, since many of our computers, the software will be obsolete in January. So we're going to have to come up with a plan for that. We are still moving forward with the phones. We've done another audit to try and single out to make sure we have nothing outstanding with the phone system being switched over. I think we're in the final phases. The department heads and I and Trustee Ivan met with Proven a few weeks ago, went over a wish list on how we want things to, how they all want things to go in their department, who they want to be able to answer, what phones, what voicemails, things like that. So they sent out their notes from that on what they'll be proceeding with. I think all the department heads were happy with that. So we are in the final moments of that. And other than that, the only thing I have is my executive session discussion.
Thank you. Trustee Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor. We have on the agenda tonight,
I'm sorry, Don, may I say one more thing?
yeah, cool.
She just pulled a Kathy Cave.
I pulled a Kathy Caven, but it's really important. Since we were off last week, we did not have the opportunity to congratulate the police department and Sergeant Thibault on his championship win at the Dirty O for Special Olympics. So it was a huge win. Please give Sergeant Thibault a round of applause. He did a great job, and the trophy is magnificent. It's taller than me.
Really?
You heard at that National Light Up Night Out last night? He did a great job, and we're really, really proud of him. And he raised the second largest amount of money for Special Olympics, so.
The only one that beat him was Juliet, which is 350 policemen.
So-
Huge town.
That
So
is-
he did
What
phenomenal.
was the
Yes.
total?
Our police department,
Over $20,000. I think it's right around $22,000.
That's fantastic.
between all of the events that all of our policemen partake in, and Sergeant Thibault and selling and everything else, second in the entire race. That was just truly amazing. So, congratulations. Hopefully we'll be able to get the 502 around town a little bit more, so we're excited.
Did I win the motorcycle?
No.
Good thing.
That's all.
Now you're done?
Now I'm done.
Okay. Trustee Kelly?
Okay, thanks, Mayor. We have tonight on the agenda approval to award the bid for sewer cleaning, televising, and sewer lining to our low bidder, Visa Sewer of Illinois, in the amount of $102,469.05. I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Killy,
Aye.
Trustee Crowley,
Aye.
Trustee Caveney,
Aye.
Trustee Gillis,
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
You mentioned that was 22% under their estimate.
Yes. Yes, which is very good. Also, I want to talk tonight about, in June, actually, we talked about putting a sort of a unilock wall in the area next to or in front of the VFW and our parking lot, because that fence was totally falling apart, and the idea from Public Works was to put a unilock type fence that was durable, and the only thing that Trustee Caveney brought up was that it was okay with the VFW.
And where we're gonna put this wall?
Or the split rail.
Or the front door of the parking lot.
that, right.
So I assume you still have that concern, and,
Yeah, because I'm not sure who owns that.
right. So if we can,
What?
Go ahead and do it.
Oh,
Would that be considered a parkway? I don't know if that's still,
I have no idea.
I don't think it's, I think it's off the parkway.
Yeah,
You're
that's
actually
what
on
you said.
either-
It's on-
It's the village
it's-
property, but it's between the village and the VFW. I think you're okay. It's not beating any walking.
No, but but those parking spaces along the VFW building, if I'm not mistaken,
Belong to
those
the
VFW.
legally
VFW,
belong to the VFW, DC, they don't belong to the village. So I'm thinking that fence is kind of within that same line there.
I think George speaks for the entire VFW. He said, go ahead.
Well, but I guess, why would we, what's the purpose of putting up the wall? Is it gonna have a sign on it? Because there's a welcome,
yes, it's
isn't there
going
a
to
welcome to
have, it's going to have the
sign there
welcome to
now?
Midlothian sign there too.
But if we're gonna be talking later on about the other sign, is there a need to have two signs? Because then we'll have two signs.
No, we want to get rid of the fence, so
Okay,
It
well,
was
can
a
we just
nice
get,
alternative.
can we just get rid of the fence and leave flowers there? Do we have to have a sign?
I like the wall, but no, we don't have to.
I like the wall
I like the
too.
wall.
It was same
Sort of
money,
makes it a
it was $4,000.
Hazard shield too.
It's a what?
Makes it a hazard shield from somebody.
True. Right, if you take the fence down, people are gonna think it's a pull-through and they're gonna be driving over it. Because they won't pay attention to the flowers,
No.
that's for sure.
Okay,
I like it.
Okay, so,
so we don't need to talk to the VFW?
Finished.
Should we-
well, I
should I have a
think we
conversation?
probably should.
Go ahead.
I'll send Commander an email.
That's fine.
Could we get a picture of that
Yes,
again?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm
And then
sorry.
make sure that we like the aesthetics and what it looks
Yes,
like and.
yes. And if
Maybe
that's,
the public doesn't even know it belongs, part of it too.
Yeah.
and
Could be fine for anything as long as Carl doesn't vote for it.
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't get to pick colors, doesn't get to pick size,
Chairs.
or the height of the chair. Mm-mm.
You guys picked the height of the chair. You guys all voted on it. It was unanimous, so.
Just gotta break it
Never
in.
mind.
Just gotta break it in.
so if everything, Mayor, if everything works out, then we'll put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
Seems
Let's see, advising the board.
Can you send us the picture? And the
Oh, yes, I will
dimensions
have that all in
beforehand?
the agenda.
Raise it up.
Okay, because we can, not an emergency.
Put it on the agenda and then, if not left, we'll pull it off for
Okay.
postponement.
So everyone wants to know what's going on with the Public Works building, and basically, despite Superintendent Sperry's best efforts, he's talked to two structural engineers, and they talk a good game, but trying to get them back is very difficult. Now, it could be it's a busy time of year. We did tell them that we were willing to pay for their time. It's not like we want it for free, but it's not happening.
I have the same problem, and I think I'm
Right.
very persistent.
Right, I know you are very persistent, and Trustee Crowley actually called me up and said, Don, what are we doing with this? And she had one of those nightmares she has when she's sleeping. So, I had about the same nightmare. So I talked to Joe, and basically, we talked to Joe and said, hey, let's do an RFQ, let's make this formalized, let's get an architect on board to start the ball rolling, formalize that we want to pay for their time, and do a similar RFQ process that they did for the police station. It would be for fixing the wall and also for putting up a new building. So we'd have both A and B. They're working on it. The police department was very nice and sent us their RFQ, and a lot of that can be cut and pasted, except for the center part, which is what we want to do. So I think Joe's working on that in all haste. I talked to him again today and said, Joe, what's going on? He says he's working on it. And again, the structural engineers had not got back to him at that point.
When you talk about, the middle of the RFQ, which I'm sure is the nuts and bolts of describing the building and what we need done, would it be helpful to have Robinson Engineering help him with that part of it, or?
What we did, just so you know, is we did ours and then we sent it to Tom and asked him to look it over and give us some suggestions, and he did.
Okay,
Okay, I think that's a good suggestion.
yeah.
I'm sure this isn't going to be, it's going to be a little bit different, and I think if Tom or our new engineer will help, that's great.
We have a new engineer?
We are going to have Mayor,
We are.
Help me.
We are going to be having, yes, we are going to have a new engineer that will be coming to the meetings and stuff. Tom's not leaving us or forgetting about us or not. He's still be helping out with the project and stuff. But, Superintendent Sperry and I had a meeting with Tom a month or so ago, and we had to talk about cost for getting out of line. And
So it's still going to be Robinson?
so Robinson.
Robinson, yes.
Just a new engineer from their firm to do the day-to-day cheaper.
Tom says he's smarter than he is. So
And he's more transportation oriented than sewer.
he's also more what?
Transportation oriented
more
than sewer
transportation.
oriented.
Oh, that'd be great. Super. Can you help us with the sign? Never mind.
Well, that was one of the first questions I had, was
Okay.
for the sign, so.
So so everybody knows what that's going on. Going out of turn a little bit, but the old nail salon, 14721 Pulaski, is going to be demolished. The
Excellent.
land bank has a relationship with the sheriff's department, which has a demolition training section, and they do it for no fee. They did the house on Keystone. So they already got the keys to the property today. Of course, they have to pull permit. Well, the big deal with this is that we have a potential developer for that property and the car lot next to it. But the developer didn't want to pay to demolish the property. That sort of was a sticking point. Now that it's being done for no cost to him, we have a much better potential of something happening, although it's definitely not a lead pipe cinch, but it is something that facilitates that process.
Can I just bring up a point about
Yes.
demolition?
Yes.
That was where I was going to go to.
Okay, I recall that this was well after the home was demolished on Keystone,
Yes.
when the village decided they were going to retain the lot and do the green infrastructure parking lot there. Trustee Kreis asked the board to approve an additional contract to the engineer to have them do soil borings, because my understanding is when the county comes in with their demolition training crew, they'll demo the building, but they don't necessarily remove the footings and all the foundation, which is, I may be wrong on this, and we'll double check with Superintendent Weinert. I thought that was kind of like part of our, village code. When a building gets demolished, everything needs to come out of the ground. And to my understanding, when that home was demolished, the entire foundation was not removed, and that's the reason why the Antero Engineering recommended that we pay the extra money to have soil borings done so they could make sure that they weren't going to be hitting concrete. And if they were going to hit concrete, it was going to have to be removed when they were doing the engineering for that parking lot. So because this building is being demolished, a new building, I'm sure, at some point is going to go up in its place. So even though...
Not necessarily, but that's a good question.
Okay, well, I'm just bringing this up because if a new building's going to go in its place, even though the potential buyer of this property doesn't want to pay to have it demolished, he still may have to pay to have some other remediation of the lot done, regardless if he's going to put a building up there or if he's going to put in a parking lot.
That's right.
So I just want to
Right. Well,
throw
that's
that out there so
absolutely
that he
true.
understands, even though the county's going to take the building down, or the sheriff's trainees are going to take the building down,
Right.
there still may be some other
Yes.
remediation. He may not be getting a 100% clean
No.
lot.
No, he's
Okay.
not going to get it. He's
All
going to
right.
have to bring it up to code when he
Okay.
does something, parking lot or building.
And I'm bringing this up only because, the village and the land bank are on the hook for this property. It's not private property anymore, so to speak.
Well, the land bank is on the hook.
Oh, they're on the hook.
Land bank owns it.
Okay.
So I was going
I
to.
just don't want any repercussions coming back to
No,
the
no,
village on it,
no,
so.
no. The land bank is going to own it until it's developed or sold or whatever. But so I was, the land bank's done a lot for us. We get a lot of their expertise. A lot of deals so far wouldn't have happened without their expertise and good advice. And so I would ask the board if they would feel that it would be fair and nice to give a no-fee permit to the land bank.
It's fine. I would have no
Yes.
problem with that.
Okay. And
Please send a note to Superintendent Weiner and copy me about that.
yes, okay, sure will. All right, and trustee Ivan's going to take care of the sidewalk survey policy, is that right?
No. I don't know why I wound up.
I don't know why you wanted it up, so would you like,
It had all your names on it, so.
I don't know. So, did everybody read the sidewalk policy? They have any questions about it?
Where did it go?
It's under trustee Ivan's business.
You mean it's a legitimate
Which I
agenda
didn't
item
know
then?
exactly
Yes.
why I thought,
Oh,
I
I didn't think
I
it
thought it
was.
was, they thought it was a policy, so everything goes to,
Can we open it? Oh, there it is.
sure.
Okay. It was taking a minute to open.
So basically, it cuts the village into 4 sections.
I could.
Oh,
I could
yes, Nick, why don't you?
The the superintendent and I met with the contractors who do evaluation and repair of sidewalks for municipalities. The issue comes to light from a Supreme Court decision which held that the tort immunity that municipalities hold for discretionary decisions regarding the maintenance of sidewalks was not universal anymore. The court found that municipalities now, their public works officials must make an actual decision with regard to particular sidewalks to maintain that tort liability. Simply not paying any attention to it, not having any maintenance, not having any designation or recognition of the state of the sidewalks will no longer constitute discretion of a municipal official. So in other words, the somewhat incongruent outcome is that if Joe Sperry were to specifically look at a sidewalk and say, I'm not going to fix that, for whatever reason, whether it be budgetary, whether it be it's on a schedule and it hasn't come up, whether he doesn't feel that that particular crack in the sidewalk is sufficient to cause the danger, we have our tort immunity. But if he doesn't know about it and never checked it, believe it or not, he's lost his immunity, even though he never made a decision about it to say that, I'm not going to fix that. So if he deliberately says, I'm not fixing it, we have our immunity. If he says, I didn't know about it, now we can get sued. So in response to that, the Supreme Court has said, here's the process for which a municipality could go through to make sure that they maintain their tort immunity with regard to sidewalk maintenance. And what that is that it has to regularly review the state of the sidewalks, and it has to make a decision with regard to those sidewalks. Can't get sued if you say, I'm not going to fix it, but you have to evaluate it, look at it, and say you're not going to fix it. And so that's what that policy is that you have before you. It's a system that prioritizes sections in an orderly fashion, that prioritizes sidewalks that have the biggest cracks and uneven, and prioritizes those in high traffic areas in which the municipality, someone has complained about and said, there it is. And that is, again, is intended to both comply with the suggestions of the Supreme Court to maintain our tort immunity, and in addition to that, to allow the village to be aware of where the dangerous sidewalks are, and theoretically, if we know where the dangerous ones are and we fix them, we won't have as many injuries. So that's what the purpose of this is. Just by the board approving this, establishing this policy, just by doing that, we have now complied with what we have to do to maintain our tort immunity with regard to cracks in sidewalks.
And does this kind of also go hand in hand with the fact that we just signed that contract with that company to go and
Yes,
fix some of our
yes,
sidewalks?
Yes,
Okay.
but also, there's criteria for it, how
Yes.
bad the crack is,
Right.
and then, we have to either do that, or we have to, some of them we're gonna have to replace, whatever it needs, but it's got specific criteria and a time frame when we're gonna inspect things, so it's pretty good.
I have a question, just out of curiosity. A lot of the sidewalks that I've seen that need repairs that, we talk about, clearly there's a reason they need repairs. There's big trees right next to them and roots
Yes.
are coming up and stuff. Are we doing anything about that or just replacing that and then they're going to be popping up again in a year or two?
Well, we went to the grinder company, and what they're doing is they're grinding,
The roads?
no.
They're flattening the sidewalk.
So where the sidewalk is, there's a certain amount of inches or inch, whatever, if it's too much, then we're liable for it. So what they do is they grind it, make it a smooth slope, and then we're good. That way, we're not paying for a section of sidewalk that's gonna heave up again in 10 years.
Well,
So if it has to be replaced, what are we doing with those trees and stuff?
yeah. My recommendation is if we have a situation where there's a sidewalk that's starting to heave because of tree roots, something has to be done to address the tree. I am having, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I took a tree down in my backyard because it was right on the edge of my driveway and 3 feet from my garage. And it broke my garage floor about 8 years ago. I had half the floor removed and re-poured, and this April I noticed the garage floor was starting to heave again, and it's all from tree roots. Well, and then I took the tree down and saw that 5 feet of the trunk was all eaten out from ants, so I was grateful, really grateful that I took the tree
Right,
down.
right.
But, I mean, there's no sense in us spending money, in the village spending money to replace sidewalks that are being heaved because of tree roots, and then we don't take the tree down.
Well, if there's nothing unhealthy about the tree was there before the sidewalk, so.
I understand that, but if it's damaging the sidewalk, it's going to keep damaging the sidewalks. I mean, when I had my garage floor replaced, we went in there and dug out all the gravel, we took all the concrete out, and then by hand dug out all the tree roots and cut them out with sawzalls, and the tree roots just keep continuing to grow. And if you replace the sidewalk, the tree roots are going to continue to wreck the sidewalk. The problem's not going to go away. So we're just going to keep throwing good money after bad.
Again, the policy is just to have on record so that we have toward community. Doesn't mean we're actually gonna replace that sidewalk. You're right, there's more into it than, and Joe will figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, before we go throw money, it's
Yeah, I understand the reason for this
$300 a
policy. It's a
square
good
or
one.
something like that.
Thought it's $100.
$100, no, more than 100.
That's all I paid.
Well, I think,
For a square, it's 300 or something, 500, yeah.
I think it's a good question. I think some residents have asked me about not only is it hurting their sidewalk, but it's going towards their sewer line.
Yeah.
And so, I know that Ty is our arborist, and I think, we should have his input on what's going on here. I think, my personal feeling is that trees are very important to Midlothian. I think
Yes.
if we decide that we're going to take down a tree, we should have a planned program to immediately put a tree
To
back in
replace
there.
it. Right.
To
Oh,
replace it.
I totally agree with you there. There's no
And
disagreement
I
there.
think, from what I understand, that the trees that we plant probably wouldn't be exactly the same trees that we
Right.
take down. The trees that we have that are causing troubles are just because they were too big for a parkway in a lot of instances, but
And they were planted over 50 years ago.
yeah, exactly. So, I think we need to address this issue, but for right now, the sidewalk policy is the sidewalk policy, and I will promise that I will talk to Ty and Joe about it and see if they can give us a little more feedback, because I think that problem is pretty prevalent in a lot of homes in Midlothian.
Do you know if the sidewalk, have they started the sidewalk project? Is the sidewalk contractor here in town already starting to look at the sidewalks and grinding those down that need to be
They
ground
did a
down?
section.
and
We did it for
replacing them? Is it done already?
for this quarter of town, we did it for this year.
But I mean, it's done already.
It's done.
Okay, if I could maybe ask, and this is just an idea for next year when we do it, if we could ask whoever the concrete contractor is going to be, who's going to pour the new sidewalks that have to get replaced, if we could work out a deal with them, if there's any residents in any other part of town who need to have a piece of their sidewalk replaced, if they would do it during the same time frame they're doing the other sidewalks. Because I realize that sometimes it's difficult to get a contractor to come out to replace a small piece of sidewalk if that's the only job they have to do. You know what I mean? They're looking for bigger.
It might be cheaper.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it
will
could
be.
possibly be a cost savings to our residents to have this, well, the concrete companies out replacing sidewalks as part of this program. We could also get them a list of residential owners that want to have some sidewalks replaced. So while they're in town doing that work, they can do the residential ones as well.
The policy doesn't mean that we're actually going to replace any sidewalks.
No, I realize that it doesn't mean that we have
I'm not sure if there's any
to.
money in the budget to replace sidewalks.
No, I don't think there is, but some of the
But there are
things,
some of them are that,
Yeah.
I'm sure when Joe's doing his inspections, I'm sure there might be some sidewalks that really have to be replaced. So
Right.
my thought is, if we know that, in June next year, there's gonna be the inspection and we're gonna have the contractor out in July pouring concrete, replacing sidewalks, why not also have them replace sidewalks for other residents that need to have it done?
And I just want to say, to back up what the mayor just said, and that is that the policy does not require anything. This board still has the authority to decide what gets paved, what sidewalks. All the policy is, it says that if we have money and if we can, we will apply these principles for what we fix.
I understand that, and I'm not saying that the village has to spend the money, I'm just saying if next year, when we get to next year, and Joe gets to the next quarter of the town to do the inspection, it's just an idea I'm throwing out. Because I know I need to have one of my sidewalk planks either mud jacked or replaced because it's sinking, and
it is cheaper to have when the contractor's out there to have your
Right,
sidewalks done all
right.
at one time. That's for sure.
right.
So, we have some things to think about for next year that this conversation has already given us, and we talked to Public Works and plan for next year and figure out what's going on.
Nice.
Okay. Let's see. I would like to pay attention to what I'm doing here. Trustee Kreis isn't here, and I do have something about that, if that's okay, Mayor. And there's a open house, Natalie Creek, for Midlothian, to make it an open house for the Midlothian residents to see what's going on with the Natalie Creek project. And
It's the
they
Natalie
can-
Creek
they can-
Trail Project.
Natalie Creek Trail Project, and they can ask questions and find out more about it. Every town, by virtue of the grant, has to do it. A couple have already done it. We're going to do it on 9/26 at 6:30.
Right.
Do you know where that's going to be?
Pardon me?
Here.
Because we have a community safety meeting that night here.
It will be, supposed to be in the boardroom. It is not. I looked, it's not on the village calendar.
Should be.
It should be, but it's not, so maybe, I don't know. So if there's a conflict, maybe we'll,
I mean, we could they can meet up there as long as no one minds, but they meet at 7.
Didn't use the Historical Society too.
yes,
Or we could use roll call room.
Large.
the Historical Society has a
rooms that are
perfect room for that. If the beautification and safety meet there.
We have police there as well, so.
Oh, so it's easier to
a lot
do
more
it here.
convenient for them to do it
Okay.
here.
And last but not least, one of the, again, talking about the land bank, one of their projects was, of course, the development next to Cousins, which is now called Gracie's. And I understand that they have passed their final inspection, so we eagerly await their opening. But I think from the pictures I've seen, that is going to be a premier attraction in Midlothian as a wine bar. There's invested a lot of money in that building. It looks spectacular, and It's going to draw a lot of people. It's sort of, I don't want to use the word Cooper's Hawk, but it really has the panache of something that a lot of people from a lot of people out of town would want to go to. Even the wine machines were imported from Italy. So, I mean, he's got granite countertops. I mean, he really outdid himself. It's far beyond what I think we could have imagined. So eagerly awaiting the opening so we can take a peek. But again, that wouldn't have happened without the land bank. The land bank put it together. It was only because the owner of Cousins had done a land bank project in Blue Island, and he knew the land bank might have all their available properties. Russ Wright, the executive director, knew what questions to ask and knew how to put the deal together. And without his expertise, we were pretty much up the creek without a paddle. That would have never happened. So land bank's a very valuable part of our town, and already some other things are happening in town that are going to be good for the town too. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
And that's all Trustee Kreis has.
Excellent. Trustee Cavity.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I put some notes in here earlier, I don't know where they're at.
Oh, boy.
Where's my notes, Alan? Oh, there they are.
Check out our my agenda. Seems like a lot of stuff gets deposited there for some reason.
I found it. Okay, so, I believe on the last day or two, maybe yesterday, I sent you all a copy of the repair quote that we got from Julia Plum to repair the north edge of the rain garden, and it was in the neighborhood of like $3,700. However, I was going through some of the paperwork for this, and I sent a question out to Trustee Kreis and to the engineer, because I'm not sure if we're supposed to have a rock spillway in the middle of that edge.
What
So,
are we repairing it from?
if you go back over there and look, when the contractor came out to dig the trench, there is a new concrete, I don't know what you call it, a concrete curb that runs along the south edge of the parking lot.
Yes.
Well, that left a big gully. There's a big gully that's about, I don't know, 12, 18 inches wide between that concrete curb and the edge of the rain garden. So they sort of had to cut into what used to be the mulched edge, but you can't see the mulch anymore because the plants have grown into it. So, and also visually, none of us could tell that there was a slope to the rain garden and to the parking lot. Well, now, the old parking lot, the old gravel parking lot. Now that the new parking lot is in there and it's level, the rain garden, that north edge of the rain garden sits anywhere from 12 to 18 inches higher than the parking lot does. So we have to backfill that gully with dirt and kind of round it up and mound it up so that it meets the rain garden. And the quote that Julia had given us was for seed. And my concern is that if we put seed in there, some of that seed is going to blow into the new parking lot. And even though they went pretty far down with rock and whatever, I'm concerned that the seed's going to grow into those crevices of our beautiful new parking lot, and we're going to have plants growing out of the parking lot. So I went back to Julia and I asked her if she could give us a quote to perhaps, instead of just putting rain garden seed in there, if we could plant, and we could still do this with seed, it doesn't need to be plants and plugs, if we could get some type of low, like ground cover, adequate type of a ground cover seed to put there, ivy or something like that, instead of rain garden seeds.
Pachysandra. Pachysandra.
What is that?
It's a ground cover. Does
Okay.
a great job.
So anyhow, so I asked her about that, but
Curious name.
I'm waiting to hear back. Trustee Kreis got back to me, but I'm waiting to hear back from the engineer with regards to this other matter, with regards to this rock spillway. So more to come on that. Superintendent Weinert wanted me to bring up to you a couple things. Jack's Place has a new owner, and they are going to be looking to apply for a special use because they would like to put a patio in the back. Also, Slap Shots, they would like to use part of an outdoor area over by their restaurant, but they had been using part of the parking lot that's at the north, their location is on the end of the building, and they were using the driveway area on the north side for, they were setting up bags games, and they were thinking that they might want to apply for a special use for that, but given the location of it, I think there's going to be a big safety concern. Big safety concern there. But they also mentioned that their second anniversary is coming up, I think is it September or October? And they want to have an anniversary celebration, so they'll be applying for a temporary permit to put up a tent because they're going to have a big party there,
And
so.
they'll have to get permission from the owner of the property.
From the landlord, yeah.
And they're gonna have to do something with safety, because
Right.
semis
Yeah.
pulling in and out of there.
Right,
Cars
yeah.
ripping into there and going to the gas station.
Right.
So it's gonna be more than just, they're gonna have to step up the game a little bit.
Where does Jax want to put one?
Yeah,
Apparently, there's a
Behind.
huge back area behind there. I had no idea.
Well,
They have a big backyard.
It's the alley.
That's the
No,
alley
they
that
have-
no,
goes
there's a
up to
big,
Campbell.
they've always had an open area back
They
there.
have
Yeah.
a picnic
Yeah, little
table
picnic
set
benches
up
where
there.
everybody
They did a nice
smokes and
job.
stuff.
It was a smoking area, but they want to turn it into like a entertainment outdoor patio type of a thing,
Yeah,
so.
there's a overhang.
There's
Yeah.
like a cover area.
Yeah.
And then they,
I was surprised when I
You see
saw the
it when you're
picture.
driving through a CVS drive-through.
I never go through the
there was a
drive-thru,
little
so-
overhang where they'd go out and have cigarettes,
Yeah.
but then
Right.
they took the rest of the yard and they mulched it, ferns, evergreens, picnic tables, they did a nice job.
Yeah,
Well,
So-
entertainment, what do we need?
No entertainment.
No.
Just enough,
Just an outdoor area?
just an
They might have
outdoor,
games
like
or
outdoor
something.
patio
Okay.
area.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
Outdoor patio area, so they're going to be bringing in their applications for all of that stuff. And you already discussed the Public Works building, so right now, this is all I have. But I reserve the right to ask a question.
As always. Trustee Gillis.
Trustee Kevin, when is the thing at the park next door?
Oh, the Fall Fest? The
Yeah.
Fall Fest will be on Sunday, October 27th, which is the last Sunday in October. And again, we're partnering with the Park District and the library and the VFW to promote a Scarecrow Family Building Nights. We're going to have 2 nights. One is going to be Thursday, October 3rd from 6 to 8. The other one will be Sunday, October 6th from 2 to 4. Location will be at the VFW. I was passing out a lot of pamphlets last night to a lot of interested families. We would like to invite all the families in town to build a scarecrow. So we gave them a little information and told them to bring their supplies on those days, bring their kids, and we will help them make their scarecrows. And we will immediately put them up in the rain garden.
And Trustee Cavaney, I think you heard, or Trustee Gillis, I think you heard Trustee Cavaney, she will be attending this year's
Yes, I will be there.
festival.
Yes.
I wanted to get that on record.
There won't be any surprise weddings or,
Who's doing the face painting?
I don't know.
Anything else?
I think maybe we'll skip the face painting and we'll go with the tattoo thing.
that was a
I
great
think we
idea,
might do
wasn't
the
it?
tattoos instead.
Okay, your time is up now. No, the reason I was asking is because the Midlothian Firefighters Association is asking permission for their annual pancake breakfast, which is October 13th,
Oh, okay.
which is basically the same time as Fire Prevention Week. So I just want to make sure there was no conflicts with the
thank you.
October dates.
Okay.
So with that, the mayor has, you can pass that back to him, please. So obviously, we're going to give them permission. I believe this is what, 32nd, 33rd year, something like that? Yeah. The only other thing I have is, I don't believe that we have painted our fire hydrants in quite a few years. I brought this up a couple of years ago, but trying to get that done because our surrounding towns have done that. And we have the shabbiest looking fire hydrants around.
I thought we talked about that.
I do know about that, Joe's got a guy. But
Guy.
Joe's got a guy.
he was
Where is
told,
that guy?
I said, well, should we take this out to bid? He says, no, all my fellow public works superintendents say this guy's the cheapest and does a great job, and I'm not sure why we haven't gone farther with that, so I will find out.
And the reason I'm bringing this up, obviously, is, the fall is probably the best time to do it. But if we do not have a guy, I would like to know if we have the money in the budget for the paint, and I would like to try and corral some volunteers to get some of them done if we can. I remember doing that about 10 years ago, and we didn't get them all, but we got quite a few of them done.
Okay. Okay, I'll find out.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Can we paint them like little Dalmatians and stuff?
Well, I've seen some really cool ones
Yeah.
that, you've got the American flag looking fire hydrants in the downtown areas. Joliet has that.
Can we do an adoptive fire hydrant and let
We do
people
have
paint
adopted
it?
fire hydrant.
Let people paint it how they
Clear them
want?
out during the winter
Do
time.
we have
We don't
to
want
train,
people-
to train them on how, because don't you have to be careful on how you paint the fire hydrant?
Yes, well,
The guy Joe's looking at is, they come in, they actually sandblast them down.
Oh.
And then they spray them so they look brand new.
That's what we need.
I
That
think
was-
that's the
Right
same
now,
guy
they
from
spray
Oak
coats and
Force,
stuff,
right.
Yeah.
Chains and stuff,
Yeah.
we have issues.
I actually watched in my neighborhood, Oak Forest Public Works had those guys.
Yes.
And literally, they spend 5 minutes on each hydrant. The first guy comes in with the sandblaster, he blasts it for about 2.5 minutes, and then the guy behind him comes in with the paint, and he paints it in 2.5 minutes. They're off your yard in 5 minutes. And they look great. Just gotta watch that they spray on your grass a little bit.
Well, that comes off when you cut it,
But
right?
speaking of fire hydrant, I do have one more thing. I don't know the exact address, but maybe our code enforcement personnel could check it out. It's at 145th Street.
Okay.
There,
145th about,
maybe Colin,
okay.
there is a corner house that has a bush completely grown over the fire hydrant. If we could get them to, ask them to trim their bush, because I mean, you can't even see it anymore. I know it's there, and I keep forgetting to bring it up, but short of going over there asking them to do it, I figured it'd be better if our code enforcement officer did that, and that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Egan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give us an update on the plan that you guys all have. Currently, it looks like we're going to be installing that third window in the building department office in the next 2 weeks. And then we'll continue forward with the lobby cleanup and painting. Trustee Cavaney has agreed to work with me to make sure I've got everything covered on all these changes that we're proposing, the two departments. And hopefully we'll be able to present something at the next committee meeting, in more detail on exactly costs and things that are going to be involved. I wanted to ask the board, how much detail do you guys want to know? You just want to know the total cost? Do you want it broken out in any specific way? Do you want to know how many steps are involved? Or do you want to know who's moving where, when?
Who will be picking the colors?
Not Carl.
That's why Kathy's going to help me with that.
Okay.
She'll be totally in charge of color
Colors.
choice.
And decorating? Okay.
And decorations, of course.
Okay.
Which we will not have, but we could make, if there's room in the budget for it, sure, we could probably do that. Yes, sir.
Can this plan have a spot for executive director of K&B?
Do you've already got a spot for her? Everything else is,
At a trustee's desk.
yeah.
So there's no way you can incorporate that?
That was, unless the building department has room, I don't see any spot to put her.
We'll take another look at the
Well,
plan and see what.
you know,
we can
right
do.
now it's working out because trustee Crowley was
And
nice
it's
enough.
vacant.
Huh?
It's vacant except for the books up top.
Yeah, yeah, so it was, but I was just wondering if that plan.
When you vacate it, we also have to make sure your bills go to somehow get to you.
I'm gonna send out an email, I'm gonna ask him to put them, I'm gonna sign the bills when Dan, I'll just have Dan keep them, because, she gives them to Dan first, and I'll just sign them on Wednesday with him and then give them to you.
Okay.
But then I'll send an email asking him to put all my mail in the police department slot, and then I have a little box downstairs that I can grab it from.
Okay. Because you were getting some more proven mail as well, so I'm in the
I
process
put
of.
it on your desk.
Yes, I'll make sure that we try to reroute it to Maggie, since they are invoices mostly that you're getting. Any other questions about the plan?
This shows a double door here in the boardroom, and that's not a double door.
This is not a
No, it's not.
architectural
No,
drawing.
it's not.
This is a cut and paste drawing of multiple renderings, since you didn't like my drawing on the whiteboard that I produced
No,
for
I
you.
did not.
So
Well,
this is the plans shrunk to fit in size.
well, my question is, I know that you've been working with the furniture vendor. Can the furniture vendor kind of give us some sort of scaled, like 8 by 11 drawing to show us where all the furniture is going to go and how it's all going to work?
We have 8 by 10 renderings of each location that we're changing stuff at.
From the furniture vendor? that
Yes.
They drew? Okay.
Where is this room?
What room that you're in?
Okay, how come you guys all have
Multi-purpose
handouts and I don't?
Looks at your desk.
No?
That's a multi-purpose room.
There.
This
Oh,
is
so
a
it's the
multi-purpose,
boardroom.
this is a multi-purpose room. It used to be called chambers.
Oh. Interesting.
Okay.
So my personal idea is that if it's good for their department and they approve it, that all we have to do is approve the quote. I mean, they're responsible for their own department.
Okay,
That's it.
because we have everything budgeted so far that I know of. So, and this also will take into our considerations of the upgrades that we've done to the backbone, our new server, our new fiber optics. So we'll have to do some wiring and then also bring everything up to code. So we're going to eliminate all the extension cords and wires that we had on the floor and actually route them through the channels on the furniture, so that there's no chance of electrocution happening by an employee accidentally or anything. All right. My next things I wanted to tell you guys about was beautification committee. Right now, we have, part of this, the committee is looking into designs for the signs for the new poles, similar to the same concept that we used on the Village Green, where we went with a simple seasonal kind of sign that we rotate out. I think right now we got 2 versions of the signs for the Village Green that we use. So they're looking into that, and they'll be presenting it to the board as well. They also have adopted Hanson Park, and we started the process of cleaning it up and planting flowers in it. I don't know if anybody noticed. We're going to make an attempt to save the big old pine tree that was originally planted there that for some reason was not getting watered because of the water system problems that were in it, and Public Work is currently working on repairing that as well for us. And they also did some additional trimming on the trees and stuff like that, so now you can actually see the veterans' bricks that are on the pathway, and some of the other stuff was cleaned up as well. I'm also going to have some student volunteers clean the park up a little bit and do litter pickup as part of the initiative for their schools and stuff like that they need for being good citizens. The other thing, actually, Don, kind of relates to you. The Village Green, Aunt Martha's boxes, they look like
They're
hell.
in bad shape.
You know,
One's full of weeds,
Yeah.
and as far as I know, unless you know differently, I don't think anybody's
I
seen
have not seen anybody do
anybody.
any work on
Just the
their.
plants that the Girl Scouts put in have been,
Weren't we
Go on.
told that Aunt Martha's was going to come and plant those at the beginning? of the year?
they were supposed to take care of them. My wife met with the new lady from Aunt Martha's, and she told her what was going on, and gave her the tools, and told her who to talk to, Public Works, and
So some of the
my wife
residents
looked at
said,
it last night, and she just shook her head,
So
because
what are we doing with
it's,
it now?
well,
do you want to try to contact them again? Or
I guess she could contact, but, yeah.
Why don't we just pull them out?
A little late in the ballgame now.
Well, they got to get cleaned up. I mean, they
Well,
look horrible.
there's one box that has vegetables in it.
Who
So-
planted those?
Well, Girl Scouts planted them, but they're sort of dry.
Oh, I thought Aunt Martha's planted some.
I don't think they, well, as far as I know, they didn't plant anything, but maybe they did. But the bottom line is that, let's contact them again, see what they're gonna do, and then next year,
Did the village spend the money to build those last year? Wasn't it our village money that paid to
No,
build those?
it's just labor. So we did spend money, but only on labor. All the materials and stuff that was purchased by Aunt
it was
Martha's
from a
and built
grant
by
from
Aunt
Aunt
Martha's.
Oh,
Martha's
Aunt
that
Martha's
paid for
did.
that.
Okay, I wasn't
And
sure
they
if the
actually
village
had
did.
some money left over this year to buy additional plants, so maybe they did plant them, but I'm not totally sure of anything. I didn't see them doing
nothing has
anything.
happened.
So let's find out what's going on, but next year, I'd love to give it to someone who's gonna do something with it.
Well, I was going to suggest that for next year, before we tear them out, maybe offer them to different community groups or even a resident who would want to come and plant it. You know, maybe offer it to, you know, a group at St. Chris or students from the high school who need to have a project or something, and maybe St. Chris, group from St. Chris who want to come and plant a couple of them, and then, or even St. Stephen's, and they could use it for their food bank, you know?
That was one of the ideas from that class from Central Park School to do a community garden, so
Right.
they might want
The only thing is the boxes are
to, right.
Aunt Martha's.
But if Aunt Martha is going to leave them on our property and they're not going to do anything with them,
Well, we give them the property, give them back.
well,
Yeah.
Also,
if
tell
they're not
them-
going to send anybody over to plant the boxes, you
Yeah.
really think they're going to send somebody over to pick up the boxes
We
and take
did,
them away?
Public Works brought it over from their property to here.
Okay, well, then that means that they're not going to have anybody to come and pick them up and take them away.
What are we gonna do with them?
Somebody's gonna
Well,
call
that's
you
what I'm
about
saying. Either way, if you decide to go with some other people doing it, you need a manager to manage this. Because it's
Right.
obviously,
Right.
you know, we don't have anybody here on staff to do it. Beautification Committee did not want to do it. I mean, this is basically a personal project that got established. And we need somebody to maintain it so it doesn't look like crap. It's messing up the village green.
Well, Karen's the only one not here tonight,
So,
so I think we vote her.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
approve.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so you're gonna call, somebody's gonna call Aunt Martha to find out what they're gonna do.
Yeah, we'll call and talk to them and see what the deal is, but no, if there's no work this year, then next year, they're out of here.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, and I don't know about what you want to do for next year for that property, but at least we know.
I want to
Take your
grade the
box-
dirt out
Take
and
your
put grass
boxes
seed
back
back
and
in.
take the dirt out, and we'll return it to something that might be usable. Who knows? I don't know. Doesn't have to be in boxes to be a community garden.
Correct.
That ends my business.
Thank you, sir. Attorney Valdez.
Yes, as you recall, that we passed an ordinance with regard to mortgage, distressed, and vacant properties. Pursuant to that, the intention was to hire pro champs to implement the objectives of the ordinance, and we have an agreement that I am in the process of looking through. We'll have my recommendations for the board by Monday. Seems pretty straightforward, but in essence, if you recall, Pro Champ's responsibilities will be to cite the community ordinance to mortgagees and/or owners and proactively contact those who file a public notice of default, less pendants, or foreclosure action, take title to real property by foreclosure or other legal means, or become vacant. Pro Champs will pay for all expenses, administrative costs, and fees related to the regulation of these properties, except as provided in 1C and 1C of the agreement. This is with regard to the fee. So that's essentially what this agreement is going to do. To put it in a nutshell, we are contracting out for the notices that are required and the activities that are required under the ordinance.
What about the animal portion of it?
We're going to address that too. That's going to be next, is to implement.
Next or part of this?
No, this is separate. This is the agreement just for the vacant properties and the mortgage properties. What this contract will do is essentially provide notice to us of who's vacant and who's distressed under the provisions of the ordinance, and then also provide notice through Pro Champs to those individuals.
So how are we, what, do I need to do something?
Is there a
No.
separate,
I thought it was
is there a
all-
separate contract to handle the pet portion?
Yes, yes.
And I don't need to do anything?
No.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, and the other last thing is obviously is that we will, in executive or closed session, discuss the firefighters contract.
And I do have a question for the attorney. Do we have a status on the draft of or the redraft of the property maintenance ordinance?
Yes.
I know that you and Nick had worked on that.
Yes, we have
Several
discussed
weeks
it,
back.
and it's just a matter of me putting together his recommendations in terms of the ordinance, the amendments, and obviously we adopt the property maintenance code, and then it provides what he believes is a better fit for Midlothian, and we implement those, adopting the whole code and then amending it for what we want, which is probably no more than 18 or 19 amendments to the entire code. So we'll have that.
So
for
we
you.
have to amend our ordinance, we're going to adopt the property maintenance code the way it is and then amend our ordinance? Or do we have to adopt the property maintenance code and then amend that?
We adopt the property maintenance code, and within that, the first thing we do in the first part of the ordinance is to adopt the code, and the second part, exempting out these amendments.
Okay.
And that's what Nick has already given his input
Okay.
with regard to what he wants
Okay.
amended.
I
And
agree
some
with
of them are to change requirements that are in the property maintenance code, and some of them are to just not apply them.
Okay,
But we do that by amendments.
okay, very good, thank you.
Well, I have one question for the attorney.
Okay.
We're still on target to present the Comcast agreement this month?
Yes.
Thank you.
Done?
That's it.
Okay. Under my business, you all have on your board packet the proposals. I want to thank Court Moscow for putting so much time into this. This has been a long discussion. I think we started talking about it a couple years ago. This is the proposal from Van Bruggen that was recommended by Superintendent Weiner, but obviously due to the price, we will have to get other quotes. As I said in my email to you guys, this is where it's time that we make this investment. That sign's not getting any younger. Upkeep and then the manual labor it takes to continue to replace the letters. Very limited on what we can put up there. So the quote is a little confusing, but basically it's $11,000 to get rid of the old sign, make the pole worthy of holding the new sign, and then the bottom two are the two different types of signs. So we looked around, I asked Pose, and they just got a new sign. Theirs was $42,000. Aura was $50,000. You said St. Chris was 34. So it's right in the range of what the sign should be, but we'll still get it.
So can I ask I was kind of confused, you're right, because the very first page of this shows the pricing for, I think, the 3x8 sign versus the 4x8 sign, but do we pay the $11,446 for the
Plus.
removal of
Plus.
the pole plus?
One of the other two.
Okay, then plus, so
The
then
bottom two
should we
quotes are
ignore that
options.
bottom quote?
Well,
What was that bottom quote?
The bottom quote is for a 4x8 screen versus a 3x8 screen. You pick one or the other.
Right,
in the
but
in the
why
picture.
does it say, it says $72,000 and it says $47,000?
Yeah, it's a little hard to read, but
Yeah.
basically it'd be 11.4 plus
I don't see either one of
27.2,
those
so
numbers.
Okay,
should be
well,
38.
Yeah.
I would,
You wouldn't get both, you would only get one of the two
right,
signs.
one or the other, so.
The first one
our-
you have to get, because it actually creates the sign, quote number one.
Right.
And then you pick whether you want the 3x8 or the 4x8. And what's in the picture is the smaller of the two, is the 3x8.
No, I think in the picture it's the larger one. I added it up I added up the inches and did my division, and I think it's the larger. Because right now, it says our current sign is 5x8. So,
The screen is only 3x8. This
oh, the
30
screen is the whole sign though.
The whole sign is bigger, but the screen itself, the bottom part is just for the screen part, the electronic message display. And this says 37 inches, so it's 36.
Okay,
So Village of
hold
Midlothian
on.
is permanent.
Correct.
What changes is the flag.
Correct.
Right, I understand that part.
I didn't actually.
I-
Yeah, that's,
So the 11,400 is to get rid of the old sign, new pole, and the structure of the sign that has Village of Midlothian.
the box that has the permanent sign on the top and everything to hold and all the
Right, but
electrical
I'm-
stuff.
And then they place the either 27,000 or 33,000 signs
Screens on
into
either
that
side.
box.
But I'm looking at the picture,
Yeah.
okay? The Village of Midlothian across the top is only 23 inches. The
Right.
bottom one is like 37, let's
So
say
3
38.
37 is 3 feet.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm saying is this is the larger of the two signs.
No,
That's a
that's
3
the
by-
smaller.
The
It's the
screen
3 by
itself
8.
will be 4 feet, 4 feet, not 3 feet.
That's
So
a
are
3
we
by
talking
8.
about screen or are we talking about the whole sign?
Screen,
Screen.
just the
Okay.
screen.
What's the
digital
sign,
part.
what's the sign of our, size of our current one?
I couldn't tell you that, I don't know.
Well, it says on the estimate, hold on a second. It says here,
Removing
it says
five.
remove and dispose of one existing, I don't know what DF means.
That's the type of sign with the letters.
It says 5.
5 by 8.
5 by 8.
Right, which is
So-
the whole sign.
Which is the whole sign.
Right.
So my question is, on our current sign, how much space do we have to put stuff on there? Is it 3 or 4 feet? Because I'm thinking we need to keep the same
It's
size. I
probably-
don't want,
It's probably 3 by 8, yeah.
it's not the 4 by 8, because I was going to recommend we go with the larger one
Me too.
and not the smaller one.
We can measure it.
Okay, my other question is, I am concerned that we're keeping the same pole. Why don't we just take the whole thing out and take the pole out and get a new pole?
There's a support pole that's put inside of it and welded. Closed.
Okay, so does this include them painting that pole?
It would not, I don't believe it would include them painting it. It
Does
includes
it
them.
need to be painted?
It includes them installing a sign support pipe inside the existing pipe and welding it closed. So I could ask about painting.
Yeah, I mean, if we're putting up a brand-new gorgeous $42,000 sign, it would be nice to have a nice clean painted pole. But I'm totally in favor of doing this.
What color would you paint?
Not any color Carl wants.
What?
Black.
So
Oops, shoot.
we,
I'm on a roll today.
once again, we wanted to
Yes.
start this
All right.
discussion, although, like I said, Clerk Moskowitz and I have been talking about this for a long time.
Okay.
It's time. I mean, so much information can be put up there, more timely. We don't have to wait until the last couple of days because something else was more important and then we throw it up there real quick and, I know it's expensive.
Oh, question.
But
Is
it
this
will
going to
pay
be
for itself.
a two-sided sign? Will you see the message on both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's gonna stay.
Long overdue.
And I know that I asked this question, I asked Nick to look at it, and I don't remember his reply. If you guys, hopefully one of you guys remember. Is it legal for us to have the sign hang over the sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay.
His only concern was the height. The bottom has to be 9 feet above the ground.
Right.
But we don't allow anything over 14 feet. But we're zoned open space here. So he didn't really, he says no regulation for signs in the open space, so.
It's not ideal to have it over a sidewalk,
Uh-huh.
but it's not illegal.
Well, can the sign, mounting of the sign be changed? Because here, they're showing that the sign is mounted, it's offset.
Yes.
Can we have it
Because of-
centered?
Because of the big tree.
You won't be able to see it from the street from the other side if you know that.
And we're not cutting that tree down.
Good night.
We are not cutting that tree down.
No.
We already skinned it.
That's because he's dying.
I think we
so.
should follow it.
All right, so
Yeah,
then,
okay.
can I ask you to try to get a couple quotes that?
Yeah.
Is Van Bruggen okay using their quote as a,
Well, I think so. I mean, they show my picture, they won't know where it came from.
just,
So, Attorney, what are the rules? I know it's because it's over 20,000, right? Or what if it's a custom?
Well,
so like
it's not a public works.
can we black out the numbers and use that to get quotes from 2 other shops? Or is that?
You mean use that as the specifications?
Yeah.
Or just retype these
Van
specs
Bruggen
and,
designed this.
or just
Yeah, I mean, I can
retype the
retype it.
specs.
I'm not gonna give this to, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna produce it to somebody.
Yeah,
I can show like a,
This is not a public works project, so I don't think, yes, the short answer is yes, you can.
Yes, you can what?
Just blot it out and send it out to someone else.
Yeah, but they're the ones that they designed.
they
this.
actually designed it. I mean, that was one of the struggles with the signs, like, where do you go to find the signs? I got different answers from the village engineer, from our building superintendent,
I can give you some sign
Do you?
content.
That would be great. Okay.
So just kind of retype what they've
Yep.
been doing. Because I feel like it's a little icky if we we're using their work. They didn't charge us to design this, but I think it looks great. Okay, so then we'll get a couple quotes.
I will get a couple quotes.
So hopefully by the end of the month, we can get on the board.
And I will share a picture of this. Van Bergen is also working on 2 monument signs with the intention of putting them on Cicero that are taller, like a stone type of sign that would have a similar display on it. And they just sent the picture today, so I will share that with you. I don't have the pricing on those yet.
Well,
Those would be TIF funds.
just out of curiosity, who will be responsible for changing the language on the?
Whoever we want
Me.
to. They will train as many people as they like.
It's all cloud-based.
It's entirely cloud-based, so it's great for emergency notification.
Is it on the cloud or in the cloud?
There we go again. It also has a scheduler on it, so I mean, we can plan notices for events months ahead of time.
Right.
Instead of to go on a certain day or time.
We definitely need an approval though type procedure
Yeah.
Yes.
for that, please.
Yeah.
And I would just note that the building superintendent has recently been enforcing the sign ordinance with regard to signs of this nature.
Yes.
So he should probably have some input as to what.
How it scrolls.
how
Yes,
it
please.
goes.
Yeah.
All right,
Slow your scroll.
excellent.
And then at some point, would we be able to add a sign at the east end of town, like off of 147th and Kedzie? So that all points, accesses coming in and out of town will have a sign? Someday?
Clerk looks extremely excited to do that.
It's,
Sure, I'll get on.
as funds, how did
Available.
Mayor Morrell, always say it? As funds become available, that's pretty much.
We
what we're
may, I did tell them that we may ask for a design for signs that look like what the monument signs may look like, but will not have anything digital on them. I mean, you have to have power in those sites, and they're gonna be costly.
Specific power to it.
I think the ones on Cicero are actually gonna be more expensive than this one, because of the brick structure behind it.
And there's no power out there.
There's no power there, which will be about $1,200 a site to get there. But that's doable, and
So-
Joe's already getting estimates on that one. But yes, I like your thinking. The idea was so they would all look
Right, all
consistent. so-
kind of look the same.
Okay, so a little bit more work,
Okay.
hopefully by the end of the month. I met with the individuals from CEDA, the Energy Services Department, and they wanted to get us sharing their information. Over 4,000 residents are eligible for their programs, their assistance programs, and only 11% of our residents took advantage of this. So they would like our help in promoting them and getting the word out there. It's no charge to the qualifying individuals.
What is it?
CEDA is the,
Help with your utilities.
they help with utilities, they help with ComEd, gas, and home weatherization. And it's all free, but they have to get signed up. So October starts for seniors and anyone that's on a Social Security disability benefit. November starts households with children 5 and under or with one disconnected utility. And December starts applications for anyone that's eligible. So the program runs from October through May. The application period runs from October to May. So that's when they start. I'm going to put it out in the front counter, and we got it on the website and the Facebook page, and they're going to continue to send me stuff. What I'm asking is any department has any functions, like DC, you were talking about the senior thing, let me know, or Sandy, let me know, so they'll come out and explain it better. But all
Does CEDA know, have they identified, if they know that only 11% of our residents are using it, I mean, if they know, if they have the finite number of residents that are able to apply and they know that only 11% are using it, if they've identified those people, can they do a mailing or can we do a mailing?
They know the 11% that are using it, and they're sending out snail mail to them so that they can spread the word.
Well, it's not too late. Why don't we put a blurb about it in our newsletter?
Yeah.
Give something to Don and we'll put a blurb about it in the newsletter.
And is that the same company that did the insulation last year?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
But CETA doesn't do the work, they would have that company probably do it, but
Yeah.
year-round help with, like I said, your your gas bill, your electric bill. If you're $500 past due on your comment bill, they'll help you out, but it's only once every 2 years.
Could I have a couple of those, too?
Yes, I have. They gave me plenty.
If you give me some, because I'm going to the back to school fair for the Park District tomorrow, so I'll put them on my table, next to my scarecrow.
I'll just like one or two, I'll put them up on the board downstairs.
I put them on the table last night at National Night Out, and Michelle didn't know what they were, and she put them back on the ground. That didn't work out well for me. So it's a great organization. They just want to
What's this?
help more people, so. I wish I knew what CETA stood for.
CETA?
CETA. What does CETA stand for? Does anyone know?
Nope.
All right, we'll go on that later. Okay, I think I brought this up before, but this is going to become a bigger issue. Republic Services reached out to me and asked if we would accept an increase in the garbage contract to reflect the increase in the gas tax, the state gas tax that just got implemented in July. I know the board originally said we don't want to do that because we have a number of years left in our contract, but as I reach out to other mayors in other towns, that increase is going to happen no matter what. They have something in their contracts that say if they're mandated by federal or state to do something, they can pass that along to the municipality.
But that's a law. If there's mandated by the state that they have to,
Clean out the garbage cans.
clean out the garbage cans or do something, that's one thing. We're all subject to that gas tax, and I'm very disgruntled at the fact that they have the nerve to contact any municipality and ask us to pay them a higher rate. This is their cost of doing business.
Well, and I think.
Are we going to give our employees a raise because the gas tax went up?
I also think I'm a little concerned about it because there's been a number of times that we've reached out and asked them for help with things like recycling and assistance when we wanted to do things, and
They've ignored us.
Not only did they not do it, but I never even got a response.
Yeah.
So, to me, if they want to start looking at not fulfilling their contract, maybe they want to break their contract and leave and look elsewhere.
I'm just letting you know that it's coming down the pipe. They're going to increase our rate.
Well, I'd like to take a
So-
look at their contract and see how in their contract they're allowed to do that.
You're more than welcome to do that. So where I was headed with this, and I know this is a very sore subject, they're asking communities are getting rid of the recycling program because that's offsetting this upcoming increase. So that's something we're going to have to think about. We're going to be asked by
Our Keep
Republic.
Midlothian Beautiful program includes recycling.
I know.
And this board has made a commitment to that program. And I don't think that giving up recycling and eliminating recycling is going to help our community or any other community. All it's going to do is put more money in the garbage company's pocket, and they're coming to us asking us to break the contract with them and pay them more money.
Attorney Valdez?
You have access to the contract and you can read
Could you
through it
look
and find
at
it.
the contract as well and see what our options are?
Absolutely, I will. I'll work with trustee.
Excellent idea.
I'm just telling you what's coming down the pipe, and it's probably going to happen next year. They're going to increase it due to this gas tax. If we don't get rid of recycling is going to, I couldn't even tell you what the number is going to be, but it's really going to go up. The garbage rate's really going to go up if we keep recycling.
But we don't have, we have a contract for recycling and regular, correct?
Yes. But
And then-
once that's done,
Once what's done? The recycling?
once our contract's done, that recycling rate is going to skyrocket.
But the contract's not done for another 6 years, right?
6 years.
4 years, isn't it?
4 years maybe.
About 4 years.
I would
Bozen's got like 3 years left, and they've already made a decision to suspend, is what they call it, suspend the recycling program.
And I think that comes from the decision of the Chinese government this year
Not
to stop taking recyclables that in the past were not recyclable by anyone in the United States. In other words, no one was recycling these items,
Nope.
and the Chinese were taking it And then
They were recycling it.
Yes.
they were recycling some of it, and some of it they were just burying.
Or they were sending back to us.
Just
We had
sending
to
back,
pay.
yeah.
Who was, it? We learned about this here
Yeah.
somewhere.
I know Rita
That they
Sarni's
were-
been talking about
Yeah.
recycling.
The recycling
I
world
will
has
say
changed.
Republic did come to a KMB meeting and they showed us a little video
Yeah.
and talked about stuff, but
Yeah, I'm thinking the board's no and hell no to both their requests.
No,
I'm just telling you,
no, you,
people, residents' garbage rate is gonna go way up.
yeah.
well, we need to start preparing them for that then. Maybe we need to put that in the newsletter too.
I can't give you exact numbers yet.
No, I know that, but something in the newsletter to say that Republic has come to the Village of Midlothian and asked the Village of Midlothian to break our contract and increase
No,
the
it's not
rate.
breaking our contract.
Well,
Is that the end
They
of
just
40?
wanted-
They want us to pay more. They want us to modify the
more
contract and pay them more because the gas tax went up.
Correct.
And that the board right now is standing firm and saying
Well,
no.
How much? 19 cents?
They wanna go from,
What is it?
let's see,
It's 19 cents a gallon, Don, but how many
I'm
gallons
sorry.
of gas
I'm sorry, he
do they
didn't
use
give me.
every week?
He just said a small
Okay,
rate increase.
so-
Yeah,
We need
And
to
then when
know.
our contract's up, they're gonna jack it up anyway.
right.
Yeah, they get a 2% increase every year anyway,
Right.
for 10 years, so.
What other towns are doing, I'm just sharing
Yeah.
information as I've talked to the other mayors. They're suspending the recycling program to offset this upcoming increase because of the fuel tax. Like I said,
Well, if we knew what the fuel increase was going to be, we probably could figure out what's going on.
when I first brought it up, I didn't get the feeling that any of the board members wanted me to go any further. But as I researched this more, I've learned more that
Well, he
there's
needs
more
to tell
coming
us
down.
what his small increase is gonna be. He hasn't even shared that.
Then- Because I didn't get back to him because it was
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's still no.
a no.
As far as I'm
And what is
concerned.
he willing to do for the increase?
Right, what's he willing to do for us?
That's a very good point. Typically, in a situation like this, when there is either a voluntary or a discretionary ambiguous provision in the contract, that's the opening salvo to say, all right, maybe we can provide some value to the village in exchange for that.
Right.
You know,
Well, everybody,
just,
let's get the contract out, let's start looking at the contract.
I recycle, I love the fact that we recycle, I would hate
I
to see that
recycle
program
all
go.
the time.
Just preparing everyone that the garbage rate is gonna go way up in the near future, so.
We should probably start looking at other garbage companies.
They're all doing it.
Yeah.
No one in the
No.
United States is recycling.
right. Homewood talked to me about that too a few months ago.
Yeah, but are other garbage companies going to their customers and saying, pay us more because the state raised the gas tax?
I can't tell you that for a fact, but the only ones I've talked to are the ones that use Republic, but I would venture to say yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. The gas, on the diesel trucks, it went from 21.5 cents to 45.5 cents. That's a lot.
It is when you look at it like, you know, if it's percentage, but the price of a barrel of oil has gone down. So it's kind of,
Yeah, exactly, it's a wash.
doesn't make any
How
sense.
cheap is gas now?
Yeah, what was gas when we signed the contract?
Yeah.
What was the cost of gas? How much was it per gallon?
No idea.
But
I think if we take a look at the contract, we'll have some better answers for you.
Thank you.
I do know that, you know, I have Homewood and for my business, and they have a line in their charge, fuel adjustment. And most trucking companies have fuel adjustments, and I'll bet you almost 100% that in their
Well,
contract, they have a fuel adjustment.
So let me say this. It reminds me very much of when the City of Chicago cab drivers decided to add a 50 cents per ride onto their, when they did that temporary
Yep,
gas.
yep, yep.
And how now they're all mad because Uber and all those other ones got in because people were tired of
Sure.
having those extra taxes.
Sure.
So,
Right.
I mean,
So you're thinking we could get Uber to collect our garbage?
I was using it as an example, trustee. But if you think that's a good idea, I think
Yeah, I'll pay
I'll
Uber.
support it.
You haven't heard of Uber Eats, right?
Uber trash.
Uber trash,
okay,
Uber recycle. I see a cottage industry popping up out of this.
can I bring up the ring thing that you brought up, or can you bring it up real quick?
Sure. We're entering into an agreement with Ring Doorbell, and And Ring Doorbell has a law enforcement portal. And the portal will give us access to all our residents with Ring doorbells. And what it'll do is it'll open up their cameras to the police department. And we can email these people through Ring, and we can geofence. If we had a particular burglary, robbery, or something happen in a particular area in town, we could geofence an area that we want to capture all those residents. They will send out a message for us, and that message will go out saying, Midlothian Police are looking for your help. Can you please check your video for a white van, whatever the case may be? Can you please send us any footage that you have that will help us? And it's, they said they were adding 600 police departments almost a month. That's how quick they're going on. I had to wait 6 weeks to actually have a portal discussion. They did it online, I think it was yesterday. And so I just got an email tonight before I came over here, and it was to agree what they want us to sign off on. So.
Before we'll be bringing it to the board for to sign off on the agreement once it's reviewed.
And
It's just a fantastic idea.
Is there a
Deputy
fee
Chief,
for this,
I presume
Sandy?
that
No.
Ring has privacy policy in which they notify.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And they don't-
That's what we need to see.
Right, and it's basically and that's exactly, it doesn't give us those people's addresses, it gives us nothing on the residents and where they're at. It won't give us locations where it's a geofence, basically saying everybody including in this area. if
And
they
it's
choose to
outside
respond
cameras
to us-
only.
Right, and if they choose to respond to us, they respond to us. If they say, I don't help the police, they don't have to. But it's just a great tool for us, so.
Excellent.
It'll help us a lot of property crimes.
It actually is kind of up and running in the area now with people who have Ring. They're just going to extend it to be able to have law
Neighborhood watch.
enforcement. It's like a neighborhood watch. And so as soon as we get all the paperwork from them, I'll be bringing it to the board.
That is all I have for tonight. Oh, the Midlothian Charity Golf Outing is Monday. I hope to see you all there. Dinner will be roughly 6:30, but come out, spend some time, enjoy the day, have some dinner, buy some raffle tickets. We'd appreciate it. All the money goes to the Lumen area and just local charities. That's all I have. Clerk Muskie.
Just a couple of items. A reminder, we will have on the agenda next week a resolution to keep the closed session minutes closed. There was a block party request attached to the agenda for August 17th for the 149th block of Kilpatrick. I'm familiar with that, it happens every year. Does anyone have any concerns about that? No? Okay, we will get a copy to the police and the fire department because I asked for both to visit. I have two other requests that came via mail or delivery. One is from Trinity Christian Fellowship Church. This is the church on 147th in Central Park. To the Village Board of Midlothian, greetings from Trinity Christian Fellowship Church. We are in the process of planning our annual block Back to School Fest for the families in our community. We've scheduled this event for Saturday, August 24th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the space in front of church and in our church parking lot. We will be giving away free book bags and supplies. We will also have free food, games, crafts, and face painting for families. We're asking for your permission to block off the small part of Central Park Avenue that's in front of our church. For us to block off the street successfully and safely, we are requesting 8 construction horses to assist in this. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. I'm fairly certain they've done this for at least 5 or 6 years now. We haven't had any issues. Anyone have any concerns about this? No? Okay, so we will get this to the police department and fire department and public works. I also received a request this evening to use the village rain garden on May 16th, 2020. So we have a little bit of time from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a wedding.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Nice. Our first wedding.
So we will, May 16th, 2020. So we can craft a letter for that as well. And then just 2 FYIs. One is we have been having some problems with the display case for agendas outside in front of Village Hall for probably well over a year, where it looks like a spaceship is landing at night. Sometimes the lights are flashing and now they're not on at all. So Maria and Andy have been working to find where we got that one and see what a replacement would cost. And I know Marie is getting some clarification on colors and pricing, I think, still, right? So we will come to the board with a request for any one of those sometime in the near future. My guess is it will be between $500 and $600 or $700. But that's just an FYI that's coming. And then lastly, I think, well, we didn't meet last week, but sometime early last week, Deputy Clerk Kalaki finished moving all of our agendas and minutes from 2014 through 2018 into board docs. So 18 and 19 are, 18 and 19 are set up as meetings, just like all of our current board docs meetings. And if you go to the library, you will see folders for 14, 15, 16, 17. There's a folder each for agendas and minutes, and there's some additional folders for public hearings and village agendas. Additionally, Sharon has updated the website, so when you select agendas and minutes from the website, it takes you right to Board Docs public portal. So Sharon can remove all of that stuff if she hasn't already from the Civic Plus website. And so all those search features that we talked about when we were doing board docs training, the fun things like, searching for ordinances around chickens or things like that, all you need to do is go into search at the top and you can put in a date and it'll bring up all the minutes or agendas for that, wherever you're at, as long as you're logged into. Actually, you don't even need to be logged into board docs because those are all public documents, but those are there if you're looking for anything. They're all searchable PDFs, so if it's a phrase, a name, something in
A word. Oh, cool.
it will pull them up in the search.
Awesome.
Great.
And I think that is all I have tonight.
Have Joe put that wedding on his.
Okay, then at this time, I'm looking for a motion to
We're gonna have to make
go to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee, and also to discuss the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're in closed session. There will be action
Yes.
following closed session.
Just need to bring all this crap in this.
Isn't that what we voted on?
I could have just gave you a call.
Do you want to, let's do, we can